So in previous years, you guys have graphed a parabola, quadratic equation. You've graphed exponential equations. You've graphed linear equations. You've graphed absolute value, yes? So you've graphed absolute value equations. This year, something new is graphing a circle in the coordinate plane. And you can graph the circle using the calculator, but you'd have to type it in 2 separate lines. So if you want to learn how to do that, I'll show you that later. But given, okay, the center and radius of a circle, you can write the equation for that circle. And when I show you the equation, if you would like some extra credit, you can show me how to derive the equation of the circle. Okay, and I'll give you a hint. The equation, okay, given the center HK, you take and you do x minus the h value, that's the x value of the center. So you subtract the x value of the center, you square it, you add to it y minus k, which is the y value of the center. You square that, and you set it equal to r squared. Notice the format, and this is the only hint I'm going to give you. This is, again, something squared plus another term squared equals a third term squared. So you can think about that if you want to derive it. Now, note that given the center in the equation, for instance, the x value is the opposite sign. So it goes from a positive k to a negative k, or h in that case. Here, a positive k to a negative k. So if you need to make that note, within the equation, the signs of your x and y coordinates to the center are then become the opposite in the equation. So again, to write the equation, you need the center and radius. If the center is at the origin, coordinates are 0, 0. If in the equation, if I'm doing x minus 0 squared, that just becomes x squared. Same thing with the y. Y minus 0 squared becomes y squared. Again, equivalent to r squared. All right, let's take a look at example 1, which gives us the picture of 2 circles. So again, in order to write the equation, which is what the directions are asking us to do, we need to know the center and radius. So look at these 2 circles and note your center and radius. Okay, so the center for this one is -1, 1, with a radius of 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice you can count right. You can count up, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you count down, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we actually graph. We graph by plotting the center and then these 4 points to draw the circle. So with a radius of 4, again, the only thing you need to do is show, again, r squared, which 4 squared is 16, and then write your equation for your circle. Again, it's equal to r squared, so it's equal to 16. If you recall, I mentioned that within the equation, this is going to be the opposite of the -1, so this is going to be x plus 1 squared. And opposite of a positive 1 is y minus 1 squared. The second one, part B, the center is right at the origin. So 0, 0, radius of 1, 2, 3. So then radius squared is going to be 3 squared, or 9. And notice, again, when you take away the zeros, you end up with x squared plus y squared on the left. So the equation for this would be x squared plus y squared equals 9. All right, in example number 2, we're still again writing the equation of a circle with center. So I'm going to have just start x minus 1. Again, it's the opposite of a positive 1, which is -1. and then y plus 8 squared. You just need to find, again, radius squared, 7 squared is 49. You can have the 49 on either side. I just didn't have room on the right, so I wrote it on the left. Now in part B, when I square the radius, I'm going to end up, again, r squared is radical 6 squared. And recall that taking the square root and squaring, those are inverse operations, so they cancel out. We end up with 6. So again, center at the origin, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, which is 6. And number 3, which is an equation of the circle whose center is 2, -3, radius is 4. You can approach this in 2 different ways. You can get rid of some of your answer choices. Say if I look at the radius, it should be equal to 16, so I can get rid of this answer choice and that answer choice. In the equation, the numbers have the opposite sign, so the opposite of a positive 2 is -2. I can cross out this one because it had the positive 2. So correct answer is number 4. So far, we've been writing the equations. Now, given the equation, we're going to find the center and the radius. Okay? So if the equation starts with x squared plus y squared, I know my center of the circle is right at the origin. So center is 0, 0. Now, if this is a part 2 question, you have to show the work. In the equation, this is equal to r squared. So you have to show how you get the value of r, and that's by taking the square root. So you have to show both solutions and reject the negative. So in part B, because there's no value being added or subtracted to the x squared, I know the coordinate must be 0. And again, the opposite of positive 1 is -1. So there's the center. And then the radius, once I take the square root, if it's a whole number, that's not a perfect square, we're going to end up with a radical. So the radius is radical 3. If the radius was a number such as 8 that can be simplified, so if the radical can be simplified, you want to simplify it. Because that is already in simplest form, 3 is primed, it has no perfect square factor, that's the final answer. Okay? Now, to graph the circle. As we stated on the front, and you can use your compass if you'd like to, that'll give you a perfect circle, but it's really hard to work with the compass when the radius is small, because you're not going to be able to open up your compass enough to really work with it, and it might be a bit awkward. So in this case, I'm going to sketch mine, and I'll show you what your sketch could potentially look like if you didn't use a compass. So my center, again, the opposite of positive 1, -1, opposite of a positive 3, -3. And then the radius, it's a short answer question, so I have to show the work. Radius is 4. So -1, -3. Again, using the radius, plot your 4 points. Up 4, down 4, left 4, right 4. And then again, you can sketch it. Or use your compass. I'll use my compass on. So that wasn't too bad. Again, on any graph on a Regents, you can graph in pencil. So you can always erase it and redraw part of it if you needed to. But again, since it told me this was the circle I had to graph and the only graph within that plane, I'm not going to label it. All right, to finish in number 6, we're going to solve the following system. Again, when you're solving, you're looking for the point or points of intersection. And we're going to check. Again, because this equation is x squared plus y squared, the center is at the origin. So anytime you're graphing a system for a parabola, you want to copy down your table. When you're graphing a circle, you want to note your center and radius. So r squared is equal to 25, take the square root. R is equal to 5 and negative 5. Reject the negative. So again, with the center at the origin, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right. So again, using the compass, I am more precise with my drawings. Again, I'm looking for that point of intersection, so I'm more accurate. Oops. So there's the circle, and then with the line, again, you just want to put it in y equals mx plus b form. So the line has an intercept of negative 5, a slope of 1. You can copy down your table for a line if you'd like to, but starting at negative 5, we're going to go up 1 over 1, and we're going to have 2 points of intersection. Again, you can use your straight edge. I'm just going to sketch it freehand. Bless you. When you label, you want to label with the original equations. All right, to finish, all I need to do is check my 2 points of intersection. I have 0, negative 5. I like to do a t-table when I check. And then we have 5, 0. So you need to check in the linear and the quadratic. So I'll use purple. To check with the linear, you just substitute your coordinates in. So x, y is 0 minus a negative 5 equal to 5. That becomes plus. And 0 plus 5 is 5. That checks. On the other side, again, here's x, here's y. X minus y, does that equal 5? It does. And then the check for the quadratic, I'll do in pink. Again, all I want to do is substitute, is x squared plus y squared equal to 25? 0 squared plus negative 5 squared. 0 plus 25 is 25. That checks. And then here, x squared plus y squared, does that equal 25? 25 plus 0 again, that checks.